disgusting.
That's why I asked.
Who's driving? It's over 9. What?
Crap car.
Addition.
Use the boots to get it. No.
Huh? What the f?
Hello again, everyone. This is Bionic Slime. I am your online voice for reviews of your choice, and this is BS Reviews. Today, we take a look at a romantic comedy action film that was brought to us by the director of the infamous Will Smith film, Hitch. The film is The Bounty Hunter. Bounty Hunter is brought to you by Columbia Pictures and was directed by Andy Tennant, who I said directed Hitch, and also directed Sweet Home Alabama and Fool's Gold. It was written by Sarah Thorpe. It stars Jennifer Aniston as Nicole Hurley, Gerard Butler as Milo Boyd, Cathy Moriarty as Irene, Peter Greene as Earl Muller, Jason Sudeikis as Stuart, and Jeff Garlin as Sid. Plot of The Bounty Hunter. Milo Boyd and Nicole Hurley have been divorced for about 2 years. They hated each other so much they just couldn't stand living in the same house, and they turn into immature, crazy, whacked-out, childlike adults when they're around each other. So they felt that separation was the best thing. Well, that all changes when Nicole, who is a reporter, gets in trouble with the law and jumps out on her bail, which pegs the bondsman, Sid, to contact Milo Boyd, who happens to be Nicole's ex-husband and all too happy to take on the job of bringing her in. When he does pick up Nicole, he finds out she's not going to go quietly, and that this is not going to be easy, as their love and their complicated past keeps getting in the way. As well as getting in the way is the story Nicole is working on involving a police cover-up involving a mysterious suicide and a drug gang lord known as Earl Muller. Now, Milo and Nicole must try and survive each other in order to survive the gang lords that are out after them trying to kill them, so they can both hopefully get their jobs done and get in alive. Review of the plot. You know, one of the things my dad always told me is that, you don't go to see a movie for all the same reasons. You see different movies for different reasons, and the one reason you don't want to see this movie for is the plot. I won't lie to you. This is a pretty loosely thin plot that is really barely ever even brought up in the film and just feels like a weak attempt to try and bring these two characters together. Now, having said that, though, that is in fact the one thing that this movie does flawlessly and the real reason why you should see the movie, and that is the characters. This whole movie stinges its comedy, its story, and everything else pretty much on the interaction between Milo Boyd and Nicole Hurley, Gerard Butler, and Jennifer Aniston. This whole film pretty much hinges its entire success on these two interacting together. And by doing that, you created one hell of a good movie. You see, the story was pretty much just non-existent, but what really saves it is the fact that this character interaction between these two is just so impeccably real, funny, amusing, hilarious, and just interesting that it just makes you completely forget about the story or caring about it at all. Because what you're caring about is what the real star shining point of the film is, and that is this relationship. This whole film is about relationship, not about a cop cover mystery, but about a relationship. And I really prefer those movies actually over more complicated story ones. As I said in past reviews, you can have the greatest story in the world, but if you don't give a shit or care about the characters that you are watching, then you're not going to give a shit just how well written the story is. You have to care about who you're watching. You have to want to watch where these people go and how far they'll go to do it. That to me is the most important thing. Review of the characters. As I just got saying, this movie is a character film. It's all about these two people interacting. All of the humor, all of the points, all of the gags, it all goes to them. And you could not have found two better people to make it work. I absolutely love Gerard Butler. Everyone knows him from 300, but he's been proven himself to be a really versatile actor in other forms than just the action, but in comedy. He really does have a great sense of humor. And even though he seems like such a jackass at times, you can't help but love the guy and just revel in his enjoyment of the film. I mean, imagine if you had the chance to get back at your ex just like he is. It's a golden opportunity that Gerard Butler clearly visualizes through his performance. I mean, this isn't award-nominating stuff like that. It doesn't need to be. The thing is, do you have fun watching this guy do what he does? And to me, I do have lots of fun. I mean, he's half the movie. It's all about their relationship, and it works so well with these two. Their quips, their gags, they work so great together. Jennifer Aniston has played, the girlfriend in a lot of films, and at times people can complain that she's too simplistic and she just plays the same in every role, same voice, same attitude. Maybe that's true, maybe that's not, but I'll be honest, I really didn't care because I was spending way too much time staring at her ass and her legs. I'm sorry if that makes me sound like a perv, but I think the director of this movie really wanted to make you aware of the fact that she is still smoking hot. Because the outfit she wears and the angles they shoot her in are just pretty evident that someone's got a boner for Jennifer Aniston. And after this movie, I don't see how you can not. She's very funny and she works really well with Gerard Butler. Their attitudes actually play so perfectly off of each other, you could really see these two being married. And that, to me, is the most important part about the film, is that you're making this marriage, or ex-marriage, I should say, believable, and it really works in that way. Jason Sudeikis played this really wimpy, wussy-ass character, Stuart, who was kind of funny. I mean, he definitely fit the bill about what you wanted him to be about. I just didn't find him that, enjoyable, I guess you could say. He kind of got repetitive. Cathy Moriarty, who I have not seen in a long-ass time, for those of you who don't remember, she was the mega bitch from the Casper live film, who I thought it was really amusing to see back in here as this cranky gambling dealer who wants to get her money back from Milo Boyd. There's a lot of really just fun side performances, like Jeff Garlin as Sid, who just had some really good lines as the bondsman manager for Milo Boyd. Just a lot of funny, quippy dialogue that just was really clever. It was amusing. There are these two guys that worked for Cathy Moriarty's character, Irene. These two kind of like bouncer kind of like guys. They were just so funny and so interesting, just with the looks in their face and the reactions. This is a very heavy comedy-loaded film, particularly more in the dialogue, though, than in the action. Peter Greene didn't really do anything different here as Earl Muller. If you've seen him in Mask and you've seen him in Pulp Fiction, you've pretty much seen his whole character. So, again, if you try to focus on that too much, you're going to hate the movie, and he's one of the weaker parts of the whole story with the film, so I wouldn't worry too much about him, even though he's supposed to be the quote-unquote villain of the film. Review the cinematography and the music. Cinematography was alright. I mean, it was an okay-looking film. It didn't really do anything outrageous with camera angles to make me say, wow, that's some really good photographic shit. However, the music was really good. I think it had some really good tunes that were both catchy, funny, they fit the scene well, and it really fit the theme of the film. It gets a good soundtrack. I liked it. I mean, some of the songs in there I never thought I would like, but after hearing it and seeing how it was used in the movie, I'm like, hey, that's pretty freaking good. Flaws about the film. The biggest problem, as I said, with The Bounty Hunter is the story. It's just pretty much non-existent. It's very just full of holes and crap and shit, and they don't really bring it up. There's not too much surprises or anything with it. It just seems like a very loose kind of, carrot dangling in front of you just to give you a reason to see these people on screen. I think critics and people are being way too bitchy and pussy about this film and acting like it's so horrendous and horrible, saying they want to chew their arm off just to leave the theater. I'm like, I understand the story's weak, but I didn't think it was that bad. I also didn't care for the character Stuart. He wasn't that funny. I mean, he was in the beginning, but his joke kind of got repetitive. And there are some other characters in the film that kind of would have made more sense if they'd focused them on more. I mean, if you really just came up with a basic plot, just leaving it about him trying to hunt down a Cole without bringing this whole drug cop thing in there, it actually would have made more sense. It would have focused more on the relationship and not worried about filling some kind of, well put together storyline. But I digress. Final wrap up. I don't really care what pansy-ass pussy shit-licking critic says about this film, and I think most of them are all incompetent dickheads. But aside from that, I recognize this movie has huge flaws with its weak storyline, repetitive, unfunny jokes like with the Jason Sudeikis character, Stuart, and just some unnecessary cop mystery thrown in. But all in all, what really sells this movie is what the real point of the film is, and that's the characters and relationship, and that is why I'm giving this movie a much higher grade, because that is what this movie is about. Not the story, it's about them. About Jennifer Aniston and Gerard Butler, and they carry so much and deliver so much in return in terms of humor and comedy, and above all else, the one thing they do that makes me really love this movie just even more than I thought I would was that they have what I like to call brilliant moments. These little brilliant moments where you just see their reactions seem so much more genuine and like an actual honest couple. Like this one scene where Gerard Butler and Jennifer Aniston are talking at a little table at an inn, trying to get their feelings back together, and just the way they look at each other, the way they respond, it felt so real, so genuine, so honest, that I couldn't help but just love them as much as they were starting to love each other. It's a fun movie with a fun cast and a great character setup. Bottom line, I give The Bounty Hunter 3.5 stars out of 5. Well, that's all for now. This has been Bionic Slime for BS Reviews. Thank you all for listening, and goodbye for now.